Utah football with the retired athletic director from the University of Utah, Chris Hill. And we had him on the radio this week, and it was a lot of fun to kind of go down memory lane. You're on the job, 3 decades of growing this program that was, depending on the year, middle or bottom of the whack.
Yeah.
And growing it to the point that now you're going to the Rose Bowl. And we had Ron McBride there, and I want to ask you the same question. We've cheated because I told you his answer.
Yeah.
He said the stadium, if you had to pick one moment, because there's a lot of moments, a lot of wins, a lot of hires, but he thought the stadium really vaulted the program forward. Did you feel like that was the biggest moment, or do you have a different favorite biggest moment?
Well, looking back, I had a lot more favorite moments on what I thought were the turning points of when we won this big game, we moved him in. So they kind of make the stadium pale in my mind, but the stadium was the most visible thing. It sent a clear message to people around the country that we were serious. So I'd have to say, you know, given that, you know, as I told you on the radio, that was the hardest fundraising, everything we did, but you'd have to say if it were a facility, that would be it.
Yeah. So as far as a game, I mean, the Fiesta Bowl put you on a national stage that you never really receded from completely.
Right.
So I would go to that. Am I overselling the Fiesta Bowl season and busting the BCS?
No, that was big. It's a shame Boise did it the next year. And they beat Oklahoma with some great play, and we were very disappointed we had to pick Pittsburgh. But, you know, that was huge. I mean, that put a marker down. That put a marker down.
So you got other favorite moments, the ones that jump out at you? I mean, you were here as an assistant basketball coach when the football program was really struggling. I mean, the coaches had their offices in the Huntsman Center. They were behind the 8 ball. It was not a fair fight.
It gives me the chills when I think about how we actually found guys that wanted to coach or wanted to play. But it was tough. But I think along the way, I mean, there's a lot of kind of victory things in football we're talking about. And, you know, obviously the 94 win and Ronnie had down at BYU, and then win 2 more years in a row and beating BYU at BYU was gigantic. You know, it sent another message. I talked to you off air that Urban and I felt that the Cal game, his first year, kind of knocked it dead. We came down, we were smart down the field, packed place, we papered the house, and then we took off. You know, and obviously beating BYU to go to the Fiesta Bowl and this Alabama game. You know, those are kind of like markers you can't give up.
One funny story I remember from that you told me about the Alabama game was that the Sugar Bowl people have a tradition where they take each athletic department, each athletic department out to dinner on consecutive nights. And they took Bama one night, and they took you guys the next night. You got to tell that story.
No, we're the little engine that could. And we kind of took some pride in it. We all did windows, all did our work. We carried our own bags. You know, I didn't have an assistant to carry my bag. So Alabama, they get invited to this fancy restaurant, and then they're packed the place. So we come, and the guy goes, well, where's the rest of your staff? I said, well, you know, this is it. How much else? You know, and he goes, really? I said, yeah. And his place was kind of like half full, and it was really, it kind of said something to us.
There were moments along the way that I remember as being really big, and they kind of get lost over 30 years because there's so many moments. But one I remember was you signed I think it was a 4-year deal to play Kansas in football, when Kansas was still pretty good. The bottom hadn't fallen out. And you beat them there, and then they came here, and ESPN came, and I think Mike Fouts was the quarterback then. And you went for like 45 points or something, won comfortably, and Kansas said, we're not playing games 3 and 4. We're done. But the fact that ESPN came, and it was the old stadium, the bleachers, the asphalt in the end zone. And again, am I making you shake?
Splinters.
Splinters in the bleachers. I remember when I moved to Utah, my brother came to visit 2 weeks later, and the fact that Marshall, Falk, and San Diego State were playing at BYU probably was a factor. But we were driving around town, and we drove to the stadium. He's like, is this where the Utes play? Let's go in. I said, well, I don't know, we can do that. And it turns out we drove into the parking lot and parked. We walked right in.
The door was broken. She was open.
We walked right down onto the field. There was nobody there. It's like, why didn't we bring a ball? We could kick extra points or play catch or something.
Yeah, it was a tough road, you know, and we lost. We were down. I told you off the air. I mean, we were down to 49-0. Against BYU, I remember it vividly, 5:42 to go in the first half. I thought, man, how did we get away from that? You know, but it was a lot of fun. The stadium really was, it was really a joke.
The scholarship box, perched up there, always looked to me like it might tip over. I'm not sure I would have wanted to sit in it, even though it was covered.
Yeah.
At 50-yard line, it had a great view, but...
I tell you, one of the sales points was they may have to condemn part of the stadium so we can't have people come.
I think that with the stadium, you gave everyone tours when it opened, and I remember walking to what was then the southwest corner, and from that perspective, you could really see the bowl and how it closed. And I mentioned, well, you could close that in and take this thing to 55 or 60,000. And I turned back to look at you, and you looked like you were going to pass out. Like, that's a job for the next athletic director. Literally, how it worked out. I mean, you started the project, he finished it, but
I'm going to give you a deep dark secret that I'll get in trouble for.
Yeah.
So you know where the scoreboard is now?
Uh-huh.
We did that before we expanded the stadium, so we kind of knew what we were doing. But I wanted it there so they wouldn't go to 65.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, that's a true story. You ask anybody that was there at the time. Why? Oh, no, it's perfect here. It's just perfect here. It'll be great. And I've realized it'll be hard for them to have those, because nobody's expanding except we did.
Yeah.
But not crazy.
And you did it with premium seating,
Yeah,
which is really the way to go these days.
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
You got to have different experiences for different wallets and all that
And that's
kind of
what we
stuff.
didn't have.
So the football coaching hires all worked out. They're all different guys, and they all had different careers, but you can all see the mark they left.
Yes.
Mac to go from the hole they were in to where it's a serious program, and people thought twice before they scheduled you and played you. Urban putting you on the national map with that Fiesta Bowl season. Kyle doubling down with the Sugar Bowl. It's not a fluke, and then bridging the gap in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Did you know the Pac-12 was going to be that hard? Did you think it was going to be harder?
You know, I knew it'd be hard, but we had some nice benefits with some of those schools being a little bit asleep. You know, we were talking about
struggling
that.
at the time.
I can say this on air now, USC and UCLA or, you know, whatever.
USC was on probation.
But it took us a while, and we didn't, you don't want to say this, but we had Mountain West players. You know, we had to transition through that recruiting time, and that's why we said, you know, we got to do everything else first class. We got to borrow whatever money we have. We want to make sure our coaches get treated well, and then grow it. But it was a little spooky. We didn't want to. We wanted to be somebody in the league, just not being it.
So, Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, it's different, but there's the Final Four. Where does that rank in there in all the moments?
Well, beating Arizona to go to the Final Four.
When they were the defending champs.
Because we didn't think there'd be anything bigger than that. So at that moment, it was like, my God, we just killed them.
Yeah.
I still remember Andre had a triple-double, but it was 16, 14, and 13. It wasn't 10, 10, and 10.
Right.
And we killed. I told my wife, I sat right next to her. I said, "This is big as it gets. Doesn't get any bigger." It got bigger.
Yeah.
You know, so I would have to say they're too hard to compare, because that was our first really big marker. You know, but you know, going to the Fiesta Bowl was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And football's just growing like crazy when that happened. So we hit that at the right time, and then, like you said, Alabama really kind of put a nail in there. Alabama game was great because it was Alabama.
Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh game was kind of whatever.
You told the story on the radio. I'd like you to retell it about hiring Urban, and you had other candidates you had to meet with. That could have gone a lot of different ways. In retrospect, it seems ridiculous to tell the story without Urban, and yet at the time, who knows?
Yeah, we went to go visit him, and we told you, so I'm going through the thing. Okay. So we go to visit him, and we visited Bernie Match, and I met with 3 or 4 guys, and we left Denver, and we thought this was our guy. And he kind of had that indication. We said, "Why don't you come back on Sunday or Monday?" He goes, "No, I can't. I got to go to this thing in New York." And we're going, "Oh, gosh." So we come back, and we're supposed to go see somebody else, and we got fogged in on Sunday morning, so Bernie and I went to lunch, for breakfast, come home, and as an AD, when you got and nobody knows where you are, so I take my son for a movie. Walk in the house, my wife goes, "Red alert, red alert." I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Urban called, and I told him to get out here right away, and you're his #1 choice." And I said, "Well, that's going to really help negotiations, honey. That's going to really do a good job." So and it was so funny. She said, "Get out here." And there he was in the middle of some Sunday night.
There was a ton of drama when he left, and it was Notre Dame, and it was Florida, and we had a helicopter back in the day and had it up following cars across town.
I told him that would happen. He didn't believe it.
Really?
Yep.
I was off that day, so I was out of the loop, and I turned on the TV, and I'm like, what are we, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, I told him, I said, you know, I mean, I said, we'll give you as much money as we can. When we hired him, I said, you know, I'm hoping to keep you for a while, but if you do the biggest of bigs, we'll give you a hug and send you on your way, because we're better.
How close did you come, you think, to not getting Kyle?
2 hours. 2 hours. 7 o'clock, we talked about a couple things, and he kind of gave me an indication, BYU, but he said, "Hey, give me a little bit longer." And the phone rang. Kyle's always right on time. You know, Kyle.
He is.
Always.
His
And if he says you're going to be there, he's going to be there.
Yes.
You know, and God bless him. That's his, and you can count on him. So the phone rings at 9 o'clock, I mean, on dot. And he said he was coming, which was just fabulous, because I was in the mindset of, okay, calling people, what else am I going to do? Who else is out there? And, you know, it was perfect timing, I think, for him, too.
Well, there's a lot of memories. It's been a crazy ride for 3 decades. Enjoy the Rose Bowl. I know you're going down there, extended family. It ought to be a party.
Yeah, no work, just fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Chris Hill.
All right.
Dr. Chris Hill, former Utah athletic director. A few memories as the Utes make their run to the Rose Bowl.